Halloween has become an increasingly popular holiday event that can now be found being practiced around the world, and is seen as the second most top-grossing commercial event of the year. The themes of the holiday have become synonymous with images of creepy accounts, scary stories and spirits wandering the earth, but the myths and legends of Halloween have been shrouded in mystery since its first reported practices and conception. So today, in the spirit of Halloween, we'll be visiting and uncovering 5 strange facts about Halloween you may not be aware of. Dancing for your treat. Probably one of the saddest accounts found. Most experts believe that it used to be a common tradition during early instances of Halloween for poor children to have attempted to dance and entertain different households they visited for food. Depending on the house, they would receive food or money to make it through the coming winter seasons. Historians and experts trace the act of trick-or-treating back to the European practices, similar to that of mumming or guising, which was a tradition that found certain performers wearing costumes or fancy designs that would go door to door performing short dances, songs or plays in exchange for food or money. This action, of course, was only common amongst the poorest populations of the time, such as orphaned children or those struck by a recent tragedy. It was not until much later the tradition began appearing all over the United States, and was more commonly practiced during the American holiday of Thanksgiving. Trick-or-treating did not become popular among all ages until wealthy children wanted to join in. They perceived this as fun dancing and singing, and so began joining in the door-to-door begging. Unfortunately for the poorer children at the time, the introduction of wealthy kids also participating in the traditions led to many households refusing to give food or money, as they believed the children to be fake in their conditions and hardships, leading to the practice nearly being completely forgotten by the 1930s. It was not until children began getting even with these houses by performing acts of vandalism or dangerous Halloween pranks that households began giving out treats again in the hopes to prevent such acts from occurring. It was even rumoured for a time that if you refused to provide food or money to those who came by, you'd soon find your house burning down under mysterious circumstances and forced to join beggars on the street. Celtic Origins. Although many different unreliable sources will cite the holiday and traditions of Halloween coming from ancient Catholic traditions, and an old holiday known by many as the All Hallows Evening, the true origins of the spooky holiday should be given in credit to the Celtics, not the Christians. Originally known and referred to by the Irish as Samhain, the Celtics believed the ghosts of the dead would begin to roam the earth on the day of Samhain, and begin looking for souls to join them in their journeys. This led to the Irish dressing up in costumes to depict themselves as these wandering spirits out of respect of the dead, as well as laying out treats or gifts outside their front doors to appease and be granted favours by the hordes of roaming spirits. To those that wish to take the credit away from the Celtics, reports find the practices dating back as far back as the 1st century BC, which helped to prove the Irish as the original founders of the tradition. In fact, many modern day concepts arise from the Celtic traditions, as many people of the faith would often find themselves preparing their costumes. They would do this by using animal parts such as their heads and skins. They did this in an attempt to connect with the spirits of the dead. Some practices and participants would even go as far as dirtying themselves and blackening their faces to appear to be similar to that of darker and evil spirits. It was not until many centuries later, in the many attempts to convert pagans of various alternative religions to the Christian faith, that the Catholic Church would begin to steal and adopt pagan holidays and convert them into symbolic Christian metaphors. They did this in the effort to claim credit for these celebrations as original Christian celebrations and adopt new followers of the Christian faith. Roman fortune telling. Of course, for most Halloween enthusiasts and party goers, it would not be Halloween in their eyes without the wild side, and what can only be described more accurately as adult themed parties. What many people are not fully aware of, however, is the holidays also seem to get its modern day attractions, and more adult themes from the ancient Celtic traditions as well. Halloween used to be regarded as the perfect time of the year by many of those practicing the Celtic faith, and it was thought this could be used to consult the spirits and find their soulmate. In many parts of Ireland, people would celebrate the holiday of Samhain by playing romantic fortune-telling games. Some of these games were supposedly able to predict who someone would marry, and when, such as one that relied on girls running downstairs on midnight and staring into the mirror in the hopes to gain contact with spirits that could deliver them reliable information about their future boyfriends. In fact, one such game referred to as Cabbage Night was a romantic fortune-telling game that relied on girls using cabbage stumps to predict information about their potential future husbands, and required the girls to then go around throwing the cabbages at different people's houses to solidify the fortune. As ridiculous as these games might seem, given the fact the holiday was one of the few instances that allowed younger people to mingle outside of Valentine's Day, it seemed to be a popular time to have fun and explore the more taboo sides of society, a belief that has more than survived even in the modern era. The Story of Jackolanterns. One last piece of modern traditions during Halloween that can be traced back to the ancient Celtic folklore are the stories and creations of the jack-o'-lanterns. Originally, jack-o'-lanterns were lights created using turnips, beets and potatoes in an attempt to scare away an evil spirit known as Stingy Jack. According to the old Irish tale, Stingy Jack was a mischievous man that would often find himself in the middle of stressful situations. This would usually require him to cleverly devise or scam his way out of a situation. One such story is that given Stingy Jack's evil nature, the devil himself began to appear before him to claim his soul. In an effort to prolong the inevitable, Stingy Jack offered to go to a bar with the devil and drink until the time was right. After the devil accepted, Stingy Jack took him to an expensive bar and began drinking the night away. After they were finished, Jack convinced the now intoxicated devil to shapeshift into a coin to pay for all the drinks they had consumed. The devil agreed, and once he turned into a coin, Jack placed a silver cross on top of the coin, preventing the devil from transforming back until he promised to never claim his soul. After this occurred and Jack later met his demise, given his truly evil nature, it was said that God refused to allow Jack to enter heaven, and so forced him to spend eternity wandering the earth with only a burning coal for light. He would often place the burning coal inside a turnip as a lantern, which led to the creation of Stingy Jack being referred to as Jack of the Lantern, or then abbreviated to Jack-o'-lantern. Although it's a rather hilarious comical tale, and additional stories of Jack exist in folklore, it's incredibly interesting that this tradition would be one of the most popular, and synonymous with Halloween despite its lack of direct ties to the ancient holiday. Black cat sacrifices. Popular images of witches and black cats on Halloween have led to the pet gaining an infamous reputation among many people, and even today that has led to an endless amount of suffering for the animal, but possibly none more so than those spending their days at animal shelters in the hopes of being rescued by potential loving families. Beginning in the 1980s, rumours of people wishing to adopt black cats around Halloween in the hopes of performing ritual sacrifices began spreading among animal shelters across the world, which led to international regulations starting in the 90s that prevented anyone from adopting a black cat around Halloween. No actual accounts or reports of black cats being harmed were true, and in fact the inability of the cats being adopted around this time led to many of them being euthanized. This is due to the shelters being unable to find homes in a sufficient amount of time. Today these misconceptions are slowly changing as shelters have started lifting this Halloween ban, and have even worked to promote the adoption of black cats during Halloween. Most experts also add that those looking to adopt a cat from certified shelters most likely are not looking to do something to hurt the animal, and rather want a loving addition to their family in the spirit of the holidays. Hopefully, more animal shelters from around the world will adopt these beliefs for the benefit of the most discriminated animal in history. As an added note, if you find yourself in the Halloween spirit and wishing to take on a new companion in your home, then be sure to call your local animal shelter and let them know you'll be willing to adopt an animal in need. It could make them the happiest cat in the world. So that was 5 mysterious things you may not know about Halloween. What is your take on these strange facts about Halloween that most people most likely have never heard before? Be sure to leave your questions and answers in the comment section below.